Today we'll take you on a brief view of one of the Viking longboats in the European rivers. We are on the Grand European Tour, which goes from Amsterdam to Budapest along the Rhine, Main, and Danube Rivers. As you can see, there are 3 or 4 levels. The bottom level has little tiny windows, which are the least expensive staterooms, and that's just a small window at the top of their room. Some people call them duck rooms because that's all you can see are the ducks paddling. We're in a balcony room, which is on the 2nd and 3rd floor. We're actually on the 2nd floor, and we're about 10 from the end. And then on the top is a deck. The deck is quite interesting because they can collapse lots of it down to get under short bridges. So it's quite critical when you choose your time of going on the river cruises. If there's too much water, they can't run them because they can't get under the bridges. If there's too little water, then they can't run them the whole way and they have to bus between stops. We're very lucky because it looks like, even though it was dry a month ago, that our boat will be able to go all the way without us having to change boats or be bussed. There are a range of rooms which we'll show you through. There's a separate video we've made of our room so you can get a bit of a look at it. And we'll also take you through some of the public spaces on the boat to give you a better view of what it looks like. Ours is called the Viking Mimir, M-I-M-I-R, which is a Norse god of wisdom, and it has about 190 guests on it. The cruise we're actually on only has 150, and we are in September 2022. There's a crew of 50 people, and the length is 443, and it was built in 2015. We were really surprised at how large it is, and we first saw that from a canal boat when we were doing a canal tour in Amsterdam before we got on the boat, and we're like, oh my God, it's much larger than we thought. So we have so far been very, very pleased. These photos of the exterior were taken when we were docked in Cologne, as it was an easier way to get a picture of the outside. Our room is 227, which, as I said, is a balcony room, and there is a separate video of our room. And this is walking down the corridor. Us two can walk down it together holding hands, which we do frequently. And it's quite a long corridor, and I think this starts to give you a sense of the space inside the ship. So you just kind of walk down the corridors, and when you do get to the end, you come to the main reception and a little tiny shop which has a few raincoats and Viking gear. Now we're upstairs in the lounge, and this will take you is where you meet for the port talks, which they do every day, where they did a glass blowing demonstration today. There's a piano in the evening. They play different music, and people can dance and have drinks. There's quite a nice bar there. Now we're moving to the top deck. And this is quite amazing because at the moment, it looks like it's all set up for drinks and people to sit around. However, I can tell you that when we start going through the locks and there are very low bridges, they will remove most things and take everything down quite low so that, and they block off the top floor so we are not allowed on it, as they don't want anyone to be injured. So there's a lot of area on the top deck for eating and drinking and enjoying life as the river floats by. It's very, very welcoming up on the top deck, and the views are really quite fantastic. You can see this is the back end of the boat, And this is when we're in the Amsterdam port. You can see a lot of the river and canals that surround the boat, with a sister ship next to the Viking Longship that we are on. The decking is a wood, so it's quite soft on the feet. This in front of us is the control tower, and this can pop up and then it can come all the way down, and apparently the captain has a little porthole in the top that he can lift and poke his head out to check where they are and what's going on in case of anything as you're going under very low bridges. So, and the deck is quite large. You can just see coming into view a small swimming pool. Now, with the weather we're having and being September, the pool has not been opened, but there is a nice little dipping pool, which if you were here in the middle of summer, I'm sure would be good. On the left side is a crane. That's used to crane us off at the end in case we've eaten too much food. And you can see going forward, there are even more chairs and tables and areas to sit, and most of that structure can be lowered quite low when they're crossing through. That's the area that they keep the towels in, and you can just see the very back end of the pool there. That's the beginning of the walking track, and I think if you go walk around it 12 times, it equals a kilometer. There are obviously some life vests on it to throw over, life buoys to throw over to people if they fall off, but I haven't heard of that. I think you'd have to be very silly to do that. As we come up to the very end of the top deck, there is a shuffleboard board that you can play. There's also some herbs, and apparently these organic herbs are tendered and used every day in the food that we eat. And then there is a little mini golf putting area that people can putt around and have a bit of a relax during their holidays. So it's quite fabulous, the boat, and our impressions of it so far are very, very high. We have found the staff have been fantastic, the food is glorious, and we have been really, really enjoying our trip. Thank you for watching our video, and feel free to subscribe and like our video.